soda, pop, Coke, whatever you call it. Most of us have thrown back 1 or 2 or 1,000 in our lives. We all know the big ones that dominate the market, but there are a few regional delights that deserve their turn in the spotlight, especially the ones that double as a cure-all for minor ailments. Red Pop, Moon Mist, Rockin' Rye, and Firework. These may be great hypothetical band names, but more importantly, they're the endearingly chaotic flavors of Midwest favorite Faygo.
Oh, Fresco.
Well, actually, that's Faygo Moon Mist.
Really?
Faygo's connections to Michigan run deep, particularly in the Motor City of Detroit. This shouldn't be surprising since the brand has been around since 1907, quenching the thirst of anyone frequenting the local corner stores, vending machines, and community events. It's tied up in local music culture too, thanks to it being name-dropped in over 100 songs, including tracks by Lil Mosey and Insane Clown Posse. You may know that Insane Clown Posse is famous for shaking up the bottles and spraying them into the crowds at their shows, or maybe you didn't. Good for you then. But if you're in the know about Faygo, you'll be aware that the powers behind the pop aren't always pleased about these endorsements, perhaps because the bands and artists in question aren't always 100% family-friendly, or it's the Faygo showers. Either way, could this pop ever take all of its music cred and go mainstream? It's possible, but part of the appeal of the Faygo Club is that it feels almost exclusive, and right now members are limited to Michigan, parts of the Midwest, and occasionally in a few of the southern states. One of the few remaining sodas that can be considered an elder to Coca-Cola, the vintage drink Moxie sure has a lot of character. With an origin dating all the way back to 1876, it was among the first mass-produced sodas in the US, although it was originally sold as a medicinal nerve tonic. In addition to seniority, Moxie also has bragging rights over Coca-Cola as it once outsold the younger brand, though it's safe to say that's no longer the case. If you're outside of New England, you've probably never heard of it, which may work in its favor as it's one of those drinks that people either really love or hate with a passion. Its taste description fits right in with its age, featuring a slightly bitter herbal flavor with a sort of rooty, licorice-tinged edge that sets it apart from anything else on the shelf. Even the brand knew that it wasn't everyone's cup of soda, since it featured the tagline, "Learn to drink Moxie." The citizens of Maine apparently learned that lesson well, as it's not only the official state drink, but there's even an annual Moxie Festival, proving that the world hasn't ditched all of their old-timey ways. Now it's time to talk about the drink that Kentucky is known for the world over. And before you start frantically searching online as to whether bourbon is actually a soda, we should let you know that we're actually talking about Ale ones. Say it fast enough and you'll pick up on the play on words of a late one. But no matter how you pronounce it, be sure to pick one up if you're ever in Kentucky, as it's actually the state's official beverage. With its light citrusy flavor layered over a mellow ginger base, it's a zippier version of a classic ginger ale. Crisp and balanced, not too sweet, and with just the right amount of bite. Ale 81 has been bottled in Winchester, Kentucky since 1926. Locals are fiercely loyal to the drink, and it's readily available pretty much everywhere throughout the state.
In Winchester, you got an L8 before you went to school, and then after you got out of school, you got an L8.
Thankfully, for a select few, they're willing to share with their neighbors, Ohio, Tennessee, and Indiana. For everywhere else, though, it's tough luck. If it's good enough for Grandma, it's good enough for you. Nehi is a soda with serious Southern charm, and since it's been around since 1924, each bottle comes with a vintage feel as well. It was one of the original fruit-flavored sodas to sweep the South, with the grape flavor being so iconic that it even had a recurring guest spot on MASH on account of it being Radar's favorite drink.
You like grape Nehi?
I adore grape Nehi.
No kidding?
Yeah.
While it once had a broader distribution, you're most likely to stumble upon Nehi these days if you find yourself traveling through the South or happen to pop into a specialty soda shop. If you count yourself among the people sick of barely flavored seltzers or sparkling waters with a hint of juice, these might have the boldness that you've been missing, especially with flavors like blue cream, chocolate, and the spiced cherry variation called Dr. Nehi. It's also the same company that launched RC Cola, so if you're one of the 6 people who love RC, it might further entice you to give Nehi a try. If you're a ginger ale fan who wants to kick things up a notch, then turning to one of the oldest sodas in the nation might be your best bet. Vernors is often described as a ginger ale, but if that's what you're expecting, you're in for a surprise. It's spicier, fizzier, and far more intense than your average ginger ale, and the company has been around since 1866, with a loyal fan base keeping it in production for over a century and a half.
You went into Grandma's house and opened up the refrigerator, and there was Vernors. That's all you had.
Another soda that calls Michigan home, Vernors, doesn't limit itself as a mere mixer or even as just a soda. It occasionally moonlights as regional folk medicine, as some Michiganders swear by it for upset stomachs or sore throats. Its credentials are further backed up by the fact that it was invented by a pharmacist named James Vernor, who originally intended the beverage as a tonic for digestive ailments. It's been said that back in the day, the soda was aged in oak barrels for years at a time, as if this medicinal soda mixer also wanted to take a few cues from its buddy bourbon. It's worth a try for ginger ale lovers and those with upset tummies, but be warned, after trying a Vernors, other ginger ales may end up just tasting like watery imitations. Green River looks like it was dreamt up by an 8-year-old who had only ever heard about soda and never had the chance to try the magical elixir. Interestingly enough, the neon green beverage that tastes like a zingy lime sherbet was invented by the owner of a candy store, who probably had a good sense of what the local kids happened to be into. The sweet yet tart soda was popular during Prohibition as a non-alcoholic alternative, but even after booze came back into society, the drink stuck around, especially in Chicago. Even though it was actually a native of Iowa, it's named after a tributary off the Mississippi. It's no longer a national presence nowadays, but you'll still find Green River in old-school diners and soda fountains across the Midwest, as well as in select stores in the region. In case you're wondering, the Creedence Clearwater Revival song Green River is named after the soda, but Green River, the early grunge band that saw members land in Mudhoney and Pearl Jam, is named after a different Green River. Oh, so you say you've had a cream soda? Neat. Good for you. Now come back and talk to us once you've had a blue cream soda. With a blue hue setting it apart from others of its kind, Frostie Blue cream sodas are sweet with subtle notes of blueberry, heavy on vanilla, and come with that unmistakable brightly colored blue. Oh, and they're delicious. The brightly colored soda originated in Maryland in the 1930s, but nowadays they must have realized that they were a West Coast pop at heart and are now produced in Washington. Frosties and their wide range of flavors seem to mostly be relegated to specialty shops, though you may luck out and find it in your local Cracker Barrel store. Regardless, the blue variation is a particular fan favorite, so if you catch a few lining the shelves, be sure to grab 1 or 10. If you find yourself in a conversation with someone from the Northeast and mention that you enjoy the occasional root beer, there's a slight chance they'll look at you with disdain and say that they prefer Birch beer. This is, of course, assuming you're talking to a rude person from that neck of the woods, as we're sure most of them are quite lovely, but rude or not, they may stand firm on their desire for a Birch beer over the root variety. The primary difference between the two is that Birch beer is made using the bark and sap of the black birch tree, while root beer is made from the much funner to say sassafras root. Birch beer is lighter, crisper, and more complex, and Kutztown Birch beer, made with pure cane sugar, is an excellent example of the drink, so it's got vintage cred. It's made with a century-old recipe, so in places like Pennsylvania Dutch country, it's simply ingrained into everyday life there. But good luck finding it outside the northeastern states, as everywhere else is apparently full of sassy sassafras fans. If you've never tasted it, you're missing a whole soda subculture, so either plan your vacation around getting your hand on a bottle, or order some online and see what you've been missing. Manhattan Special Pure Espresso Coffee Soda doesn't care if you hate it. Manhattan Special Pure Espresso Coffee Soda is there for its true fans, and that's why Manhattan Special Pure Espresso Coffee Soda is so iconic. It's effectively sweetened carbonated coffee made using genuine espresso, making it a revelation for coffee lovers and gives the impression that it thinks that tea drinkers should go kick rocks. The brand makes a range of drinks, but the Pure Espresso Coffee Soda has a caffeinated cult following. In a seemingly further attempt to be off-putting for some, Manhattan Special has been making the soda in Brooklyn since 1895 and hasn't changed much since then. The bottle looks old-fashioned, the flavor is bold and buzzy, and it's only for New Yorkers. So if you want to get your hands on some, it's time to work on that New York accent and arrange your travel plans. Or just order it online, but that's not nearly as fun. Jamaica's finest ginger beer does not go down smooth, and that's part of what fans like about it. For those looking for a ginger ale that will make your eyes water, turn to the beverage made, naturally, in the most Jamaica of U.S. cities in Natrona Heights, Pennsylvania, and try one of 3 available versions. There's, of course, Jamaica's finest original, a peach variety ginger beer, and the hot, hot, hot ginger beer. That latter is both its actual name as well as an apt description of its taste. But for those looking for just a hint of hot, the original flavor has real heat that's balanced out by just enough cane sugary sweetness. It's hard to find outside of Pennsylvania, but we're not sure if that's because the inhabitants of the state are hoarding it all, or if they're actually trying to protect non-Pennsylvanian citizens. It's a shame, though, as adding this to any cocktail is a quick way to boost the flavor and give it even more of a kick. If you love grape soda, then it's time to plan a pilgrimage to the South. NuGrape has been bringing the grape flavor since it was first bottled in 1921, featuring a bold and juicy taste of artificially purple-tinged goodness, without the hassle of any actual pesky grapes. And although it doesn't sound like the healthiest option out there, sometimes that's exactly what you're looking for. NuGrape isn't trying to be a trendy 21st century soft drink. It's not organic or infused with botanicals. This is soda in its purest, fizziest, sugariest form, and it's glorious. Despite its long history, NuGrape isn't part of the mainstream grape soda conversation beyond certain corners of the South, basically Georgia, North Carolina, and South Carolina, which is just a darn tootin' shame. Sure, there are other grape sodas out there, but NuGrape has got everything we want. No grapes and delicious artificial colors and flavors. Bubble Up walked so that Sprite and 7-Up could run on their lemon-limey legs. Its history traces back to 1919, and at one point, if you wanted a lemon-lime soda from the Coca-Cola Company, you were given a Bubble Up as opposed to a Sprite. If you're able to toss one back, don't go expecting anything groundbreaking, just something that tastes great and hits that lemon and lime sweet spot. Bubble Up might seem like just another retro brand, but for those who remember it from decades past, it's worth seeking out. Originating in Ohio and now manufactured by the Indiana-based Dad's Root Beer, it's still relatively easy to find in the Midwest. Elsewhere, however, availability is spotty, and it's often relegated to the occasional specialty soda shop.